Great. All right, so just getting started off, I want to thank everybody for being here today. I am going to go through these slides kind of like at an even clip just so that we have them as part of the recording. If you do have questions, I do have chat with me here on my second monitor, so you can put in your questions there, and at the end of this kind of little mini slide deck, I'll address those questions as we need to. If there are things that you want to talk about that aren't necessarily a part of this conversation but might be Moodle related, just let me know, and we can either come up with like a private time to figure out what how to address your question, or we could address it here on camera and include it as part of the recording. So we'll kind of take it as we get through it. So, thank you to everybody for joining us for this Moodle mini workshop series. I believe this is the third or fourth one that we're doing in this series. I do want to put in a small pluggable for our upcoming ones on November the 4th. I'm going to be taking a really in-depth look at the gradebook function within Moodle, uh, looking at all the different terms that are there, how to set up grades, how to set up grade categories, how to move things around so that they fit into those categories. We're going to be spending a lot of time just taking apart the gradebook, and then moving into in the next session on the 10th, moving into grading rubrics. Something that I get a lot as the instructional designer is, okay, so I have this rubric, I'm using it in my point system. How do I like include it as part of my Moodle infrastructure? That's what that date is for. So if you signed up for this event, chances are you are already signed up for the other events. If you need to, you can go back to that webinar kind of meeting page, and you can just add each one of these to your calendar. Like we're doing with all of these, we are recording them for posterity and for training purposes. So if you do happen to miss one, even though you've signed up, no worries about it. You'll get the little email notification from Zoom with the recording attached. In addition, Becky and I are going to be putting this on the academic technology page so that folks that haven't necessarily signed up but want to view these as a resource, we got them. So let's dive straight in to the Moodle calendar. So we're probably all familiar with this thing. I'm showing it's where you're probably more often or not going to see it is on that right hand drawer within Moodle. But the calendar is also available straight from your dashboard. So when you log into Moodle, if you go to your dashboard, the dashboard provides a lot of really good information for you as an instructor, including upcoming assignments, things that need to be graded, other types of really important information. It also has your calendar. If you're coming at it from the course level perspective, you're inside an individual course. Opening up the right hand drawer will bring open uh, kind of like a mini view of the calendar and items that are specific to that course's calendar. So as you can see here, my October is pretty open because I'm not currently teaching a course, but I do have an assignment here on the 27th that is due. So you get a real quick look, at a glance, things that are due, things that are coming up, things that are going beyond there. I do want to talk about some different things that you can do with the calendar, things that you may not be aware of, things that you can do within your assignments to add things to the calendar. And then we're going to talk about how to actually export your calendar into Gmail, which is a really powerful function that, if you're really in the Google Drive space, you use Google Calendar a lot. It's just one less place you have to log into, right? So when you are in the Moodle calendar itself, when you open up the full calendar thing, it splits it up by month by default, and then it's going to be taking a look at whatever course you're kind of accessing it from. If you're taking a look at the dashboard, it's going to show everything. So if you're teaching 4 or 5 courses, it's going to show you all of the assignments, all of the things that are available within those 4 to 5 courses. You can filter them down. So in this case, I have filtered them down to a faculty training course that I use for specific instances like these. And from here, you can create new events. Once you open up the new event dialog, you have to give your event a title. You give it a date, a time. If you take a look, there actually is this little calendar symbol that's on the right hand side of that input. So rather than putting things in manually, you can select it from a kind of calendar view drop down. It gives you a good sense of what day of the week you're going to be assigning things to. One of the features that I like to point folks towards is the type of event tab. When you click on it, it brings up a number of options. The two really popular ones are going to be your course type of event. So in this case, I want to create an event that's going out towards my entire course, right? All of my students are going to be seeing it. If you have an administrative assistant that's a part of that course, they'll have that same event added to the calendar as well. That's what the course type of event does for you. It's as if you're adding a new assignment, but rather than having a grade attached to it, it's like a small reminder. So let's say you have an assignment that's due on Monday, and you want to add just like a little bit of a heads up on Friday. Hey, don't forget to hand in this assignment on Monday. You can create a separate event here within a calendar event. Another type of event I like to point people towards is a user type of event. Follows the same exact process. It's got all of the same fields that you have in here, but what that does is it creates an event that's just for you. It's as if you're in your own Google Calendar creating a task reminder, creating a kind of like appointment block just for yourself. Really useful in the case of, you want to remind yourself to grade something separate from the grade me block or separate from any other Moodle notification. That will help you to be able to organize that workflow a little bit easier. After you do that initial ingestion of information, there are additional dialog boxes for descriptions, where you can include links for Zoom, things of that nature. So from the Moodle calendar side of things, there's a lot of really powerful things that you can do to inform both yourself as an instructor using that user type of event, or for all of your students using the course level event to just notify them of when big things are going to be coming up. One of the other really cool things is when you are creating different gradable assignments, right? So if you are in Moodle and you're adding an activity or a resource, if you're creating an assignment, a quiz, something where there's going to be a date and due date attached to it, you've probably noticed that there's this availability tab that gets brought up as a part of the creation of each one of those items. Uh, as you're adding in each one of these different parameters here, allowing submissions from, due date, cutoff date, and remind me to grade by. That's kind of our one of our new things as a part of the new grade me block. You can enable each one of these as you feel is necessary, and then once again add in the date. This will create a course level Moodle calendar notification for not just you, but for students as well. So one of the things that you can do is if you've got an assignment, you've built it out, and you only want it to be available from a certain period of time, and then do it a certain period of time, you can set that window individually for that assignment. So you could say, okay, something I'm going to open it up on Halloween and it's going to be due by Thanksgiving. You could use those first two boxes to set that. That will then be synced up back to the Moodle calendar. So for a student, they'll see the Moodle calendar thing open up saying this assignment will open up on Halloween, and then they'll have till Thanksgiving to be able to complete that. You could also assign a cutoff date. So where an assignment might be due by Thanksgiving in this analogy, you could add in an additional cutoff date after Thanksgiving where you could say, no more, I'm not taking any more submissions. Anything past this date will no longer be accepted for grading. You can enable that or disable that as you will. You don't have to include it. You can see here that for this particular demonstration assignment, did not enable it because I didn't feel that necessary for this particular assignment. You can also, for your instructor self, add in an additional reminder for you to grade. So wherever that window happens to be for you, I know a lot of folks here, they have their own kind of internal scheduling for when they like to grade things. They might want to grade things over the weekend, or they might take a Wednesday evening to grade things. Depends on your own schedule. You could set individual reminders that will be sent to yourself and yourself only, so that in the Moodle calendar, it'll pop up. You'll receive a little notification within Moodle, and it'll just be a little nudge for you to get those grades in. Now, all of this is great, And the Moodle calendar is really powerful, and there's a lot of really cool things that you can do with it, just like we just talked about. But we are a Google house here at Elms, so we're living with Google Calendar, we're living with Gmail. And when you're living with those ecosystems, trying to go from one to the other can be a little cumbersome. It could be depending on your login situation. You might be on vacation or otherwise away from the office, so you might just want to be able to look at your Google Calendar on your phone real quick. This is the process to be able to do that, because what we can do is we can take our Moodle calendar and create a kind of export link that we can then bring into Google Calendar. So right now we're looking at my Moodle calendar. I'm in Moodle right now, and at the bottom of my Moodle calendar, there's an option for importing or exporting a calendar. That's the link that you're going to want to click in order to export it. It's then going to open up a new window for you with a whole bunch of different parameters. Depending on your needs, these parameters might be a little bit more specific to what you might want here. So, for events to export, there's all events, events related to categories, events related to courses, events related to groups. I think for most instructors, and this is just me speaking from kind of the top level, all events is more than likely going to satisfy most folks, I think, here on campus. If you do a lot of work specifically with grouping your students in Moodle, that's a scenario where you might want to break that down into groups. But I think for most folks here on campus, you're going to want to just select all events, and then you're going to want to select a time period. Now, you might want to just export just a single week, a single month, maybe the upcoming month, depending on what your needs are. There is an option for recent and next 60 days. That doesn't exactly cover an entire semester, but that at least will give you a good snapshot of where your Moodle calendar is sitting. The most important button, once you've kind of figured out what your needs are for the Moodle calendar, is there's this option here called Get Calendar URL. It opens up this kind of small gray dialog box at the bottom with this very long, very cumbersome link and a button to copy that URL. You're going to copy that URL, and that's where we're going to bring it into Google Calendar. So before we go anywhere, let's see how we're going to bring that into Google Calendar. So here you're seeing some of the breakdown of some of my hidden calendars behind the scenes. On the left-hand side of your Google Calendar, normally we've got a whole bunch of different things there. You might have the master calendar, you might got holidays. I have a whole bunch of different calendars that I use for keeping track of my Moodle assignments, for keeping track of things that I'm working on within Moodle, different tasks that I do, that type of thing. Underneath all other calendars, there will be a plus symbol. When you click that plus symbol, it's that what that's essentially doing is it's looking to bring in another calendar, right? So if you are, if you're using an Apple calendar, if you're using an Office 365 calendar, you could bring those types of calendars in here as well. But since we're bringing something in from Moodle and we have the fancy URL that we need, when you hit that plus button, from the list, we're going to be using from URL. That's going to open up the dialog box that I have over here on the right hand side of the slide. And in the gray space that says URL of calendar, that's where you can paste in the link from Moodle. I highly recommend, just in case you get a little lost in the weeds, you can open up two different tabs within Google Chrome or whatever you're using for your web browser. Just have Moodle open in one and then your Google Calendar open in another. Just in case you lose that URL, you can just click right on over and recopy it again, and then you will add to your calendar. Once you add that to your Google Calendar, whatever those parameters were that you chose to import over, it automatically gets updated into Google Calendar. So once again, I'm not teaching any courses this fall, so I don't have a ton here to show you there. But if you have lined up all of your assignments, you've got your due dates set up, you've got all of your events set up within your Moodle calendar. As you get notifications from the rest of your Google Calendar life, you'll also start to get those updates from the Moodle calendar as well. Uh, Highly recommended that if you feel really comfortable with this process, you can also introduce this to your students as well. That's often like a kind of catch-all case I find with students is that they don't often check the Moodle calendar for things like due dates. for things like when assignments are need to be prepared, when cutoff dates are. If they have a really tough time managing those different tasks, bringing their Moodle calendar into Google may help just so that there's one-stop shop type of things. They're only looking at the one calendar and then it's right there for them. This is a really easy way to help keep students on task, particularly if they have trouble keeping on task anyways. So that is my short spiel. Really quick. There's a lot of information there. I'm gonna leave this slide up just for a minute so that folks can take a look, see what's coming up down the pike. And since we do have a number of folks here, are there any questions, any specific Moodle calendar-esque things that folks want to talk about or ask questions about? I'm getting the sense that there are none. Thank you, Carly. Brittany saying that this was very helpful. Of course, I'm more than happy to help. And if you've run into any problems, if you have any additional questions, you can always swing an email by me. I can help walk you through it individually as well. Great. Okay, so for the sake of the recording, I am actually going to cut off the recording here. I am going to stay on the Zoom call in case folks have other questions or things that come up. Jane, I know you're working with the Moodle calendar right now. For folks watching at home, please stay tuned for additional webinars in our Moodle mini workshop series. On November the 4th, we are demystifying the gradebook. So I will see everybody then.